Hi, my name's Matt, and in this video we're going to look at using Substance Painter to create the textures for the sci-fi prop. We're also going to look at how you can use Substance Painter to bake normal maps, and also how you can import your own normal maps inside a Substance so you can start to get a really good texture bake. So let's get started. Okay, so in the last video we looked at how we can create some of the pattern work using Quixel Suite and making it like a lot less time consuming and actually speeding up the workflow by using Quixel Suite's Endo. In this video I'm going to show you how you can actually apply that normal map to your object inside of Substance, as well as a load of other introduction to Substance and how I use it to paint objects. Now what we want to do first is we want to make sure that we've got this, your object, and it's all UV'd. So ignoring that little bit there because that's a light map. There we go. So it's all UV'd. Now this has got two materials on it. It's got a decal material and it's also got the normal material, and that's why we've got some UVs over the top of each other, because we've got two materials attached to this one. Now what I'm going to do is, sorry I'm just losing my voice there, is I'm just going to extract this. So if I go to here, go to desktop, already done it. Now I've also got this as well, which is kind of like a high poly version of the thing, so it's going to give me smooth edges. So I'm just going to export this as well, just for the time being. And that's it for Maya. That's all I need for Maya. So this is Substance Painter. I'm using version 2019.2. I have the freelancer's license, so I can do commissioned work or freelance work or outsourcing, that sort of stuff with this license. It also gives me access to quite a big library of materials. And if I just go to the website, Substance Source, when you pay for your assets, so when you actually pay per month for this, you get access to this if it loads. There we go. Where you can download different materials that you want to use. I mean, you can create your own using Substance Designer, but when I'm freelancing, I normally use this because I need to be quick with building stuff. As you can see, I haven't used many this month, but you get a point system, and it's just the same as Quixel's one as well. But yeah. Substance Source, and I think Substance Alchemy. But anyway, you can actually get Substance. It's owned by Adobe now, but this is where you buy it, and there's lots of different solutions. So you can have pay per month. You can pay for, I think, for a whole year as well, if I remember rightly. So I'm on this one, because my revenue is under 100k, and yeah, it's about £19.90 a month dollars wise, and £239 a year, depending on which one you go for. I go for this because you can cancel it as well. So yeah, you can actually cancel it. If you are a student, if you send an email to them, you can, or if you log in, you can actually discuss, you can actually get a educational license for free for it. So cool. Anyway, I'll leave the links for these in the description below, but we're going to get started now. So if I go up to File, New, now I'm going to use Unreal Engine 4 because we want to put this in there. Now I don't need to import the cameras, but I do need to import the actual thing. So let's go here. So that's my low poly. Document resolution, I keep it at 2048. Some people put it to 4K. I don't know why. I work downwards anyway, so you could work for 4K, and then when you come to export the maps, you can actually change the size of these anyway. So it's not too much of an issue. Keep these all the same. Import maps and baked maps. I'm going to do that and show you how to do that in a minute separately anyway, so that's fine. Just click OK. your time to load. And now we should have our mesh. Now if you use Photoshop, you'll be similar to the layer system. I'll just give you a navigation of what's on here. So up here is all your menus. So like file, we have export textures, save as commands, new. If we go into edit, this is a good one as well, project configuration. So if you change your project while you're texturing, say you find a problem with the UV somewhere, you need to fix it, you can do that, and it's pretty straightforward. You can actually re-import it by going select and then reselecting it and clicking OK. Now, if this is quite complicated, it might screw up, it might not. It just depends. Okay, project and that's what I use that for. Settings. If you're having problems like shortcuts, if you can't remember shortcuts, brilliant here. You can change your shelves as well, save them. So if you've built a shelf, you can save it. And yeah. To navigate around the 3D space is middle mouse button will allow you to pan around. And if you hold Alt and right mouse button, that allows you to zoom in. And if you want to pan around the object, just use the left mouse button and Alt, and that will allow you to pan around it. If you want to frame the object, press F, and that will frame it. If you hold Shift right mouse button, that allows you to change where the sun direction is. Now, you may think, oh, why do I need to know that? It's just sometimes if you're like painting on the back side here, you might want to see how the material's reacting with the light. Let's put it on there for the time being. Okay. Oh, this isn't the new one. Remember, we changed the thing. So this is an old FBX that I'm using today. Okay. As you can see here, we've also got 3 materials. We've got the glass, we've got the motion tracker, and we've also got the decals. So if I turn off those, you'll notice that it actually turns off the mesh. There you go. And this is where your materials are. Now, they're named because when we export, it will pull that name. So we want these to be named exactly what we want them to be. Again, X, Y, and Z are your axes. Now you can change what you see. So we can actually, I'm using the arrow keys here. We can just see base color, height, roughness, metallic, normal. There we go. So let's just go back to material, and that's showing you what the material will look like using the Unreal Engine 4 setup. Down here is a load of tools. So we have paint, erase, projection, and polygon fill. Ones that we'll be using today, polygon fill and paint. I'll show you how to do that in a minute. Now, I know Quixel Suite Ddo uses color maps. For this one, I don't use color maps for Substance Painter. And I'll come on to more of that in a minute, but yeah, that's one of the things I don't use for Substance Painter. I actually just paint masks inside the software. We've got an eyedropper as well, a material picker, so we can change colors. The rest of this, do you know what? I did not know that was there. I don't use any of these buttons. What does that do? Export to Photoshop. That's probably new, and I haven't used it yet, so I do apologize. I am going to turn these materials off though. Up here is to change, you can change the size of the brush, the flow, the stroke opacity, the spacing. You can create your own like kind of brushes with this, and if you notice, if you use the brackets key, which is next to enter on a keyboard or one row above, you can change the size of brushes. And I'll be showing you how to make your own brush anyway later on. Here is the UV. Now we can look at just the 3D view. So if you just want to use the 3D view, we can do. But I tend to paint on 3D and 2D. And if we select this material, so you have to have this material selected. If you don't, it won't paint on it, or paint on whichever one. You'll notice that it's actually showing you my UVs. This is brilliant. Reason for this is that I can actually just, sort awesome. Okay. Now, one thing I would say is with this, you can paint on here. So let's just change the, so it's red. So I can either paint in 3D or I can paint on here. Obviously I don't want to do that, but yeah, so it's really good. We can just do 2D only. So yeah, we can have a look at the orthographic views as well. Just gonna perspective view. Let's have a look at, you can free rotation, and this one will put you into a rendering, so it'll actually go into the rendering. I won't click on that right now. We have layers, so we have layers, or we can have fill layers, which will fill on here. So I could say fill the whole thing red, or have a bit of a disco. And if we want to delete a layer, we just click here. Deletes it. Now down here is your shelf, which has all your materials, tools, particles, brushes, everything. So to begin with, what we're going to do is we're going to do some baking. I know we did some baking in Xnormals, but Substance Painter does have a really good baker in it. So we're going to go over to texture settings here, because I just realised I'm 11 minutes in and I haven't really done anything. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to bake mesh maps. Click here. Now I don't want an ID because we're going to make our own ID. And I'm going to bake the normal. So what I want to do is I want to add the high poly here. Okay. Bake all. I'm just going to bake the this material. I don't want to bake all of them because not all of them needs baking. Okay. Now this is an important step to begin with. So you need to bake position, curvature, and world space, ambient occlusion, and thickness. These help when it comes to the generators for like scratches and that sort of stuff. So please, you do need to bake those. You won't necessarily always need to bake a normal, depending on what we're doing. So that's actually baked it. So now we've got that softer, can you see? So if I just turn this off. Okay. Now what I can do is, if I just go to textures, you'll notice that this is actually here and I can drag that back on. There you go. And you get that nice, soft, smooth finish. Okay. The edges aren't that great. So let's have a look at the bake settings. Okay. Let's go to super sampling 4. Always. Let's give that a go. I'm just going to bake it again, and it is trial and error. And what we can do is we can clean this up in Photoshop as well, which I'll show you in a minute. Okay, cool. So that's that. So I've got that, and that's pretty cool. So I do want to bring in my own normal map as well, because I've got some detail on that normal map that we want to use. So let's come down to here, and this is import resources. So this is if you've got materials that you've downloaded from Substance Source, or if you've got other stuff, this is where you can pick it up. Where did we bake it? I hope that's right. And we're going to import it as a texture. Okay. You can put multiple resources in as well. And I'm going to import it to the shelf. This is, actually I'm just going to import it to this project here, because I don't want to keep it after this project. So this means once this session is shut down, it will get rid of it. This means anything to do with this project saved as this, it will keep it. If not, it will get rid of it. And this means it's permanently. So materials, you want it permanently shelf. But for this, project is fine. Okay. Now, the problem with this at the moment is that because we've just baked this normal map, we need to have this so we can apply a fill. So a fill layer. And I'm just going to double click on this and call it NRM. And I'm going to untick height, roughness, metal, and color because all we want is the normal node. I'm going to drag it on here, and there you go. Now, okay. So there you go. So we've got our normal map, and it's showing up. There you go. All the detail, even the detail inside there. And yeah. So I'm just going to bake a normal map out because I want both the normal map that's associated here and this normal map to be in here. So File, Export Texture. Come on. Okay, I'm just going to turn those off because I don't want to export these two at the moment. And I'm actually going to create my own configuration, and this is a good way to show you guys how to do that. So let's just have a quick look at the Unreal 4 Pack Specular. This is one that I made. Where is the normal map? Huh, it's missing the normal map. There we go. So I'm using normal map DirectX. I can't believe that. I'll fix that in a minute actually. So I'm just going to create my own, and I'm going to rename this normal map export, and I'm just going to use no, not that one, RGB, and I'm just going to drag this onto there from RGB channels, and I'm going to name it. Now, if you notice with these, they have dollar signs. And what that means is it'll take the texture set and call it that. So let's texture set. I'm just going to call it bake. Click. Okay. I'm going to get rid of this because I don't want any like dilation. So no padding. I'm going to change this to TGA. Okay, and that's fine. That's fine. And I'm just going to change this to what I just created, normal map. And let's save it on the desktop. So select folder and export. Okay. Okay, one thing I just noticed is I just made a mistake. And if you look at this, it says texture set. So let's try that again, shall we? Let's try exporting that again. I do apologise. I'm just looking at the thing. I'm going, why is it saying that? Okay. Let's just open. That's the one. Can you see that? There we go. That's what I wanted. So as you can see here, we have the bait that I had before. Again, I probably want to smooth this out. Which I can fix this by doing a marquee tool select, grabbing the right color. Bear with it, my laptop's dying a little bit. Just bringing that out a bit. Come on. I do need a new laptop. I have been looking at the RTX 2080s. Oh. Okay, so I've got that. What's this issue? Don't like that. Let's have a look at it in Substance. Where is that problem? There you go. There's a problem there. It's baking something there. So really I'm not happy about that. So I can find. Okay. I can clean this up. And what it means is I just need to look for normal. And here I can just clean this up. Get rid of those because I don't want that. And then just save it and just re-import it in. Add resource. Texture. There you go. It fixes that. Cool. Then just export. Yep, that's fine. And there we go. Let me just cancel this. Oop. File open. Cool. And now what I can do is I can re-import this back in. So bring this normal map back in. All the changes. Drop that on there. And there you go. Now obviously I'll just delete that. And that's fine. Okay. So now we've got these thingy. Now when I paint this, it's going to come through basically. So that's that. One thing I will show you is another thing as well, is bringing the decals in. So if I add the resource, and if we work freelance, call this texture, project, import. And if we just create another fill layer, get rid of here, say I'm on the wrong one. If we go to decals, turn those back on, and we just delete that layer and put a fill, turn these off, then this is going to let me drag that on there. There we go, we've got all the decals that we need, which I created in Photoshop and then PNG. I think, yeah, we do need this one actually. Fill. Just can bring this in as well. Add resource. We've already started, which is good. So those were just made in Photoshop using the PNG. I got the UV island for that, put it in, and away we go. And just before I wrap this video up, I'm just going to show you how to add a material to here so that we've got it ready to go in the next one. So let's start to paint some masks and that sort of stuff. So I'm just going to call this what shall I call it? Decal. Okay. And then I'm just going to find the material that I want. So it's a steel painted, and this comes standard. Any ones that I use that may not come standard, I'll show you where to get it. Okay, so as you can see, me dragging that in has just created the whole thing. It's now got the steel painted, which is not what we want. So we're going to create a mask for it. So if I right click and go add black mask, that's going to paint it completely out. But now, if we want to do anything on the bottom layer, so the actual material layer, say change the height, roughness, metal setups here, I just select here. But if I want to mask it out, I can do. And by adding a black mask, that means that if I paint on this now, this mask with that selected, I can start to paint in the colors. Now, the problem with that is that's going to take ages. So this is where this polygon fill comes in. So we can either fill it based off the polygon, so faces like that, or we can base it off the UV. So for example, what we can do is, and there you go, it's going to paint that UV. Okay, click on there. Yep. Oh, this is going to have the same. That's going to be the same. Okay. Say that's going to be rubber, so we'll leave that. So anything that's going to have this paint, we paint it on, okay? So for now, oh, don't forget those, yep. Okay, so we've got that. So now what we're going to do is, so I've got my steel paint, and I'm going to call this base paint main body, so I know it. What else are the materials we're going to have? So let's have a look at a bit of rubber. Yes, let's use that. I'm just going to add a black mask, and I'm going to change the scale of this one. I'm going to put it to say 20, and we can have a look at that in a minute. So I'm going to select the mask, and I'm just going to paint there. Maybe not. I'm just going to turn the decals off a minute so I can see it. That's probably not the best. So if I'm not happy with that material, select the actual material and just double click on a new material like that. There we go. It's brilliant for that. Okay. I'm not happy with this because it's the green isn't, it's green. So let's come along to here and let's select the paint color. Now we could use the picker, and I can pick colors already in the scene now. But this is where it gets really cool. If I just grab that and say, let's grab a web browser. Okay, and alien tracker. Say we wanted that green, I can actually use the color picker to kind of pick that color, what I want on any image, which I think is pretty cool. So I've got that color, it's not green, more brown, so let's add a bit of green to it. Okay. Now let's add that bit there and that bit. Because they would be rubber and this would be rubber as well. Let's just make sure this is on top. Yep. Let's carry on doing this. And you just go around and Control Z undoes it. Now, if you want to undo it, if you press X, that will paint it white, black. And if you press X again, that will change the color to white on the mask. I can also find those bits. Maybe not that one. So find and just do that, which is way easier. Okay, anything that's on top, you notice there, it will paint it that. Okay, so just be careful. Make sure your layers are the right way, and just go rubber tracker. Okay. Just going to paint this as well. Paint that as well. You see the detail on this is a bit too big, so let's just transform the UVs. Maybe a bit too much. It's a bit too grainy. So what we can do is we can have a look at the height, position and range, and we can actually bring that down and up like that. So I still get a little bit of bumpiness from the paint, but not too extreme. We can change this a little bit as well. So we get that. Okay. This needs to be masked as well. So this will have to be the face. Now the problem with this is, because this is not actual geometry, that's actual geometry, but because the other thing isn't, then we have to do a bit of painting in a minute for that. And yeah, so in the next video I'm going to show you how to create your own brush, because we're going to need it to be able to mask some of this out. I'm also going to show you how to paint the rest of this, and then start to actually export it, and yeah, so I'll see you in the next video. Now you will want to save this, because Substance is quite stable, but you never know with software when it's going to crash. So let's go to File, Save As, and I'm going to save this on the desktop for me and call this Tracker. Click Save. And now that's saved everything that we've done, so even presets and that sort of stuff for when you're exporting textures. Because when you create a new one, it will reset all these presets and you have to go back and change them. So making sure that you save regularly is important. It does auto save, but if you press Control S, it will automatically save. Say we do something. Let's not do that actually. But yeah, it'll automatically save. In the next video, we're going to look at carrying on painting this prop. We're also going to look at how we can create damage and dirt layers to actually bring life to the actual prop. So I'll see you next week.